The 590 eating challenges posted to his channel, BeardMeatsFood has failed only 14. So from the earliest to the most recent, we're going to go over each rare example where the restaurant beat him, beginning with the undefeated Yorkshire pudding burger, which was the first challenge uploaded to his channel which Beard couldn't finish. When Adam attempted the challenge back in February 2015, he'd been uploading YouTube videos for only 2 weeks, and as a result the production is fairly basic. However, he didn't need multiple angles and a 4K camera to show just how difficult this challenge was. As highlighted in the description, the challenge featured a 40-ounce burger topped with mozzarella chicken, beef brisket and gravy, accompanied by a pint of shake and a pound of thick cut fries. Although over the top of some extra loud music, Adam explained that the most difficult part of the challenge was the 25-minute time limit, which simply wasn't enough to finish the fries, marking the first ever defeat on the BeardMeatsFood channel.
Just couldn't eat quickly enough, and I think that's one thing I'm gonna have to improve on if I want to take it to the next level.
And while you might be thinking that Beard failed because he was new to professional eating, this couldn't have been further from the truth. Even at the beginning of his channel back in 2015, he'd explained that he was the UK's best professional eater, and only 1 month after he failed the Yorkshire burger challenge, he'd beat a giant naan bread challenge that was so difficult you won an overseas holiday just for finishing the meal. This showed that BeardMeatsFood was a pro even in the beginning, although he still wasn't good enough to beat the 1.2 meter hot dog challenge at Huckleberry's Diner. Attempted only 1 month after the previous failure, the video is still fairly basic, although Beard's able to get a clear shot of the 4-foot monstrosity, which the restaurant gave him an hour to finish. Only 11 minutes into the challenge, Beard is down to the bread, and it seems as though he's going to beat it, but he's then handed another hot dog of equal size.
You're eating fucking two. You're eating fucking two. Where does it all go? He must have high metabolism, so he must be able to shit out. Because there's no fucking way. Where does that go? You can't tell me you can eat all that shit without taking the biggest shit in your life. There's no way. I'll be on the toilet for 3 days if I'm eating all this shit. He's mad. He's mad. There's no way I'm eating this shit.
Showing that he was really only halfway. Things became even worse after Beard explained that the chef accidentally used a heavy baguette instead of a light hot dog bun, and for this reason it took Adam more than half an hour just to eat the bread. By the 52-minute mark it looked like he was going to finish, although with 1 minute remaining there were still 2 bites left, to which his mouth was saying yes but his stomach was saying no. The Beard simply couldn't swallow the final part of the meal, but while this hot dog failure had come down to a matter of 2 mouthfuls, his next defeat was significantly more pronounced when he'd take on the 10-pound cheesecake challenge approximately 9 months later.
No, I'm sorry. Oh my fucking days. You're eating all that cheesecake. I only can eat a bit of cheesecake. That's too much cheese and cake put together. Oh my gosh, bro.
Taken at the very same restaurant where he'd failed the 4-foot hot dog challenge, Beard began by showing that the 10-pound cheesecake was bigger than his head, although he'd also explained that it was a 2-man challenge, so he had a person by the name of John who was there to help him finish it. The only problem was the rule stated that they couldn't both be eating at the same time, so the other guy went first and tapped out after eating only one of the cake's 6 slices. This meant that Adam was left with over 80% of the cake to finish on his own, which he'd do while explaining that the cheesecake was so dense he had to throw it up after attempting the challenge. The Beard had to admit defeat with around 1.5 slices remaining, although he probably gets a pass given it was a 2-man job. However, the only excuse for the next challenge he'd fail was that it was simply stupidly difficult. Beard began the video by explaining that he tried the challenge in the past.
I tried this about a year ago, probably a little bit more. It's basically 7 pounds of barbecue food.
And while 7 pounds of barbecue food sounds like a pretty delicious meal, the difficulty of this challenge can only be recognized by reading the list of items involved. 12 chicken wings, full rack of ribs, sausages, 6 slices of beef brisket, 2 pounds of fries, coleslaw, 4 bread buns, 3 pots of beans, 1 pot of jalapenos, 5 strips of pork crackling and mounds of pulled pork, made even more difficult by the explanation that almost all ingredients seem to have doubled in size compared to my last attempt, and though I'm sure it wasn't intentional, this meal is far heavier than 7 pounds. The Beard was able to get through an impressive amount of food, however he eventually succumbed to the sheer amount of meat. But in case 7 pounds of barbecue food wasn't already hard enough, only 1 month later he'd upload a new video trying to beat a challenge that was so difficult, the restaurant had to downsize the meal afterwards as they realized nobody would ever beat it. Titled the 11-pound chicken and waffles challenge, Adam began by stating that this was going to be his hardest challenge ever, bar.
I'm going to be taking on probably my toughest challenge yet. This eating challenge is called No Clucking Chance.
Before going on to explain that he needed to eat 4 Louisiana chickens, 4 deep fried chickens, 8 waffles, onions, onion rings, corn, and 3 pounds of cheesy fries.
Why?
However, it seemed the Beard was being humble, as he didn't mention the bacon on the sides as well as the pickles, which covered everything. Beard then expressed concern over the 40-minute time limit.
This is a 40-minute time limit, which damn near makes it impossible for all but about 3 people
these
in the
looking
entire
dense.
universe.
As well as the dryness of the waffles, and by the 30-minute mark, Adam stated that he knew he couldn't finish. He'd throw in the towel with a minute remaining.
I don't care who you are, ain't nobody eating that amount of food in a minute.
Which was followed by a sentence in the description reading, "The challenge has since been downsized to encourage participation." Although it seemed this defeat would actually lead to a string of successes, as the Beard wouldn't upload another failure for over 15 months, until he was eventually undone by the undefeated Meat Mountain. Located at Tavasoli's Bar and Grill, Adam described the Meat Mountain as one of the most difficult eating challenges I've seen for a long time, which was supported by the scorecard on the wall behind him, showing that there were 8 failures and not a single winner. If there was one man for the job, it was going to be BeardMeatsFood. However, he'd need to get through a 9-pound garbage plate of fries, hash browns, mozzarella dippers, bacon, pulled pork, burger patties, chorizo, garlic mayo, and sweet chili sauce, accompanied by a pint of Kinder Bueno milkshake, all of which has to be finished within 20 minutes.
This is a crazy amount of food for 20
you have
minutes.
to
I'm not really
download that
surprised
shit.
that nobody done
What,
it before.
introduce
Wearing a
them to Kinder
t-shirt which
Bueno
stated
milkshake?
"Count blessings, not calories," the Beard began to smash his meal, interrupting himself only when asking for more water. By the 15-minute mark, he stated that the meal felt like a bottomless pit of food, and by the 19-minute mark, Adam accepted that he didn't have enough time. He'd gone to make the slightly arrogant yet incredibly factual statement that,
To be honest, not many restaurants that do eating challenges manage to beat me.
which was supported by him not failing a single restaurant challenge over the next
banging
2
views, though.
years.
Yeah,
However,
just
when he'd
banging
come
views.
up against the incredibly
But
unique
eating all of
Bangers
that
and Mash
shit,
challenge,
that's
the
too
Beard's
much.
24-month
Like
winning streak would
avocado.
finally come to
No,
an end. Described below the video as ludicrously difficult, Adam was shocked by what the challenge involved,
You get 30 sausages. 30? 3-0?
which became even
the
worse
fuck
after the
eat
server
30
told him the
sausages?
amount of time he had to do it in.
That's
You gotta
bare
finish it
pork, you
all
know.
in, is it 1 hour?
Oh, that's disgusting.
20 minutes?
Fucking 30 sausages.
Oh my lord, I should have just done the little burger. This could be the first restaurant challenge I failed in.
It's been 84 years.
It was obvious that Adam was unconfident from the get-go, made even worse after he'd start and discover each sausage was too hot to eat.
That's roasting hot. You should have steam coming off it.
Adam's confidence continued to drop after realizing that he also had to eat a whole cauliflower afterwards, and while he did give it a red-hot shot, Beard was eventually defeated by the time limit, although not before the restaurant
I wouldn't
offered
even
him
do
a
that
free
myself.
t-shirt for his efforts
I wouldn't even do
anyway.
that. Fuck the free t-shirt. Fuck your
I feel like I
t-shirt.
should give you a t-shirt.
However, there was no t-shirt being offered by Low, Slow, and Dough, as the Beard had no chance of beating their burrito challenge. The chef came out to personally explain the magnitude of the meal,
Just over a foot long, weighs about 2.5 kilos.
before the owner talked about how many people had beaten it.
Has anyone finished it yet? I've seen a few people have attempted it and failed miserably.
Everyone's failed. Everyone so far.
So it's undefeated.
Adam then explained that the meal was much larger in real life than it looked in the photos,
Which turned out to be way bigger than the pictures indicate.
leading to the suspicion that the restaurant had packed it on, as they knew who he was.
This is one of the reasons I try not to announce that I'm turning up somewhere in advance. Yeah, the chef piled it on here. I mean, I don't mind that, you know, but this was tough going.
Beard had demolished the entire burrito within 2 or 3 minutes. However, the halloumi was almost impossible to get down in the 17 minutes remaining, with Adam describing the challenge
I'll be thrown up
A bad day
halfway.
at the office.
I would have thrown up
I
halfway.
suppose it happens in all careers.
After being unable to finish the churros, he stated
It's
he
like
planned on
a bit, you know?
returning,
It is definitely doable, so I'll be back.
which he'd do 5 months later, getting revenge on the challenge with 45 seconds left on the clock.
That is fucking hand. Look at his fucking
45
hand.
he planned on
Look at his
returning,
fucking hand.
It is definitely
Bro.
doable, so I'll be back.
which he'd do 5 months
Look
later,
at his
getting
fucking
revenge.
hand. Look at that fucking hand. Fuck off. There's no way. You're downing that into your mouth like it's nothing, like it's Eba. You're that. That's disgusting. My fucking days, bro. No, I couldn't.
On the challenge with 45 seconds left on the clock. However, 45 seconds was still favourable in comparison to the 0 seconds he had left when attempting the Breakfast Club's 50-item fry-up. Eggs, bacon, beans, mushrooms, the list went on and on. 50 different breakfast pieces, including a full bowl of potatoes, which counted as only one item. It's really no wonder why Adam described the breakfast as so massive light actually bends around it. However, the primary concern might have been the time limit.
You get, what, 30 minutes to finish?
How are you gonna eat all that bread?
As Adam began to eat, it was obvious that he was doubting his own ability.
You could probably see in my face that I'm not quite as self-confident.
Oh, there's
With his lack of
mushrooms.
confidence becoming a self-fulfilling prophecy as he began to chat with the other people in the restaurant about how he got into professional eating. After passing the 13-minute mark, Adam acknowledged his lack of speed in the first half.
I don't think I took it quite seriously enough from the start. I think I was pretty slow at the gate. I'm 15 minutes in. How have I got all this food left?
I think the Breakfast Club is going to defeat me.
And by the 23-minute mark, he'd accepted that there was no way he was eating the potatoes.
I don't think I'm going to finish this now in 30 minutes. I think I'm defeated. There's no way I can do this in 3 minutes.
In spite of the failure, the Breakfast Club were nice enough to offer him a t-shirt, but it was lucky that the next place he'd be defeated also offered funerals, as Fletcher's Olympic calzone damn near killed him. Beard described the challenge as a calamity from the get-go, as after realizing that the food was piping hot, he had to eat the crust around the outside while waiting for the middle to cool down. When it was finally cool enough to eat, Adam quickly tired from the sheer quantity of pepperoni, ending the challenge somewhat anticlimactically by stating,
I can't face any more pepperoni, that's all it is. Mate, I can't do the pepperoni's just destroyed me. I can't stand the taste of it anymore. I'll take the loss.
However, at least Beard was able to leave the restaurant in a calm state, as the next challenge he'd fail looked so different from the pictures that he'd almost get into an argument with the restaurant. The online photo showed a small pot of chips, 1 scoop of ice cream, and a relatively small burger. However, the portion served to Beard featured a literal colander of chips, 8 scoops of ice cream, and a tower burger, causing a bit of a scuffle between him and the restaurant.
It's not the same bucket, look at it! That's a full one. That one is all hard like a pork. Come on, everybody. That's like a normal pork of rice. This size? It's a challenge. Oh, man. What a bunch of con men. Look at the size of those chips.
The other problem Adam faced was that the timer started as soon as the food hit the table, and since he'd spent the first 6 minutes arguing, introducing, and taking pictures for the thumbnail, he was left with less than 24 minutes to eat the actual meal.
If I win this, it's gonna be a miracle, man, because I don't even know how long I've been going this. Come on, man.
As is obvious in that clip, Adam wasn't in the best state of mind from the get-go, almost like he wanted to lose just to prove to the restaurant that the portion size was unbeatable.
I think I've got about 10 minutes left, maybe, if that. What a flipping con.
As the challenge continued, Adam stated that he'd never been this angry during a meal.
This is about as grumpy as you'll ever see me, but, you know, with good reason.
Which is followed by him accepting defeat with around 4 minutes remaining.
I'm done. I'm just waiting for the guy to come over now.
However, while Adam gets somewhat of a pass for this defeat, the only justification for his next failure was that it was probably the largest, most difficult challenge ever posted to his channel. Located at Connor's Cafe in Wigston, the channel going by the name of the Loza Sandwich had been attempted by over 50 people without a single success, and after it came out onto the table, there was no question as to why. The monstrous sandwich featured a full baguette, half a dozen eggs, half a loaf of bread, as well as fries, beans, mushrooms, and chorizo. Thankfully, the meal was incredibly well priced should Adam be defeated.
12 quid? I come down here and eat every day for breakfast.
Although on top of the £12 cost, failed challenges also required a £10 donation to charity, which was a pretty cool idea by the restaurant. It wasn't long before Adam's least favourite food was getting in the way of the challenge.
I'm not a huge fan of mushrooms, so I'm gonna get that out of the way.
As was the owner in a pretty funny way. By the 21-minute mark, Adam was praying for a second wind of motivation, although with 4 minutes remaining, he'd accept that it wasn't happening.
Waving the white flag. I'm gonna have to give in. Yeah, congratulations.
And you're drinking Coke.
However, while the Loza sandwich looked
breakfast.
almost impossible from the start, his next failure was the opposite. The 10-pound pancake challenge looked fairly straightforward, yet it turned out to be unbelievably difficult. The video began with the explanation that in over 14 years it had almost never been beaten.
Only 3 people have done it so far, right?
Yes.
Made even more difficult by questions and photos from countless friendly fans. In addition to this, a comment on the video stated, "Those pancakes look way bigger / thicker than in the other videos I've seen from this same challenge, showing that he might have gotten unlucky in terms of pancake size. Despite this, the Beard gave it his best shot, although it took only 6 minutes and 33 seconds before Adam was confident he wouldn't finish. He'd spend the next 19 minutes slowly devouring as much as he could. However, the time limit was no issue on this one, as he'd thrown the towel with over 35 minutes left on the clock, showing that there was simply too much food.
I had an hour, but I've only got like 30 minutes left. I don't even think I'm gonna get close to this one.
And while every defeat so far came from either time constraints or portion sizes, it'd be the 4 million Scoville spicy noodle challenge, which presented a brand new problem. The meal was just too damn hot.
I read on the internet that this is the spiciest ramen challenge in America.
The manager explained that over 300 people had attempted the bowl without success.
300 attempts and nobody's finished it. I'm not the man for this assignment.
With the challenge being so wild that Adam had to sign a waiver just to eat the meal. The 3-pound bowl of ramen had to be finished in under 8 minutes. Although in possibly his least confident state ever, Adam said it wasn't happening after only 19 seconds. Despite this, the Beard made a pretty solid attempt, with the restaurant saying it was one of the best efforts so far. Yet this would also mark his 14th and most recent restaurant defeat out of the 590 challenges attempted on his.
He needs something. Something needs to be done. You can't be doing it every day. Most days, probably not every day, but most days you're eating all that shit. He still looks bulky though. He still looks big, but I say like, fuck that. You're dying. Look at your eyes. Look at his eyes. He's crying of how much spice that is. I can't even fucking eat that shit. Hell no. God forbid I will ever do that in my life.